The world of NASCAR was sent into shock after the disqualification of Alex Bowman following the Charlotte Roval race. Alex Bowman's disqualification after the Charlotte Roval race left the NASCAR world in shock. Bowman, who had finished 18th and seemed to have secured a spot in the playoffs, was disqualified when his car failed to meet NASCAR's minimum weight requirements. What seemed like a normal end to the race turned into a shocking twist that no one saw coming. In today's episode, we'll break down exactly what happened, why Alex Bowman was disqualified, and how this unexpected turn of events changed the NASCAR playoffs. What seemed to be a routine finish turned into one of the most surprising post-race developments in recent memory. Alex Bowman, a fan-favorite driver who had provisionally secured his spot in the round of 8, saw his hopes dashed due to his car failing to meet NASCAR's minimum weight requirements. The disqualification not only removed Bowman from the playoffs, but also allowed Joey Logano to take his place, drastically altering the playoff picture. This incident, unfolding late in the evening, left me and maybe you stunned, setting off waves of discussion and speculation. At the conclusion of the race, Bowman finished in 18th place. While not a spectacular finish by any means, it was enough to give him the points necessary to move into the next round of the playoffs. He had provisionally advanced by 9 points, an achievement that likely gave him and his team a sigh of relief. However, as NASCAR officials began the post-race inspection process, it became clear that something was wrong. The number 48 car, driven by Bowman and fielded by Hendrick Motorsports, did not meet the minimum weight requirements set by NASCAR. This failure was devastating for Bowman, who had fought hard to maintain his playoff run.
So unfortunately, when we were running the 48 through, it didn't pass the minimum weight specs. So we pulled the car off to the side and we allowed them to fuel it, which they already did. We let them fuel it again. We let them run the pumps to make sure all the pickup boxes were full. We give the teams every opportunity to try to meet minimum weight. We also have to plug in the water and run the water through the system to make sure they're full of water. And then we rescaled it. It still didn't meet the weight, backed it off, and we run it across one more time just to confirm the weights were accurate. And unfortunately, they did not meet the minimum weight. They are allowed a 0.5% of a weight break, which is about 17 pounds, give or take. That is what they're allowed, and it was more than that.
Instead of finishing 18th, Bowman was demoted to 38th, a position that erased his points advantage and knocked him out of the playoff race. As soon as the disqualification was confirmed, the playoff standings shifted dramatically. Joey Logano, who had been hovering just below the cut line, leapfrogged Bowman and secured his spot in the round of 8. Logano, a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, now finds himself with a renewed chance to compete for a third championship thanks to this unexpected turn of events. The contrast between the joy of Logano's camp and the heartbreak in Bowman's camp couldn't have been more striking. For Bowman, this disqualification is the latest in a series of challenges he has faced throughout his career. He's dealt with multiple injuries, including a concussion in 2022 that forced him to miss several races and effectively ended his playoff run that year. In 2023, Bowman had to sit out more races due to a back injury, making it difficult for him to gain the momentum needed to secure a strong playoff position. Despite these setbacks, Bowman performed admirably throughout the season, consistently earning points and remaining competitive in most races. His disqualification at Charlotte, however, represents a significant blow to what had been a promising playoff campaign. Bowman's rise through the ranks of NASCAR has been one of perseverance and determination. He's often been viewed as an underdog, someone who had to fight for his place among the sport's elite drivers. This season, he had proven his critics wrong by delivering solid performances week after week. His win at Chicago earlier in the year was one of the highlights of the season, showcasing his skill and ability to compete with the best. As the playoffs progressed, Bowman continued to show consistency, earning points in nearly every stage of each race. His journey to the round of 8 seemed all but certain, making this disqualification all the more painful. What makes this incident particularly gut-wrenching for Bowman and his fans is that it occurred after the race had already concluded. For several hours, everyone believed that Bowman had done enough to advance. Fans celebrated, and Bowman's team likely felt a sense of relief knowing they were moving forward. However, that relief quickly turned to despair as the post-race inspection revealed the car's weight issue. The sudden reversal of fortunes left many in a state of disbelief, struggling to come to terms with how something as seemingly minor as a weight discrepancy could have such massive consequences. NASCAR's rules are strict for a reason, and ensuring that all cars meet the required specifications is critical to maintaining a level playing field. Weight is a crucial factor in how a car performs on the track. A lighter car can often have a competitive edge, handling better and achieving higher speeds than its heavier counterparts. This is why NASCAR takes these violations seriously, even if they occur after the race is ended. For Bowman, the post-race inspection revealed that his car was too light by more than the allowable margin, and as a result, his 18th place finish was nullified. Hendrick Motorsports now faces the decision of whether or not to appeal the disqualification. In the world of NASCAR, teams have the right to appeal penalties, and in Bowman's case, the appeals process would be expedited, meaning it could be heard within a few days. However, the success rate for appeals of this nature is low. A recent example involves Sam Mayer, whose team failed a post-race inspection at Talladega. They appealed the penalty, believing they had a strong case, but their appeal was ultimately denied. Despite the odds, it's likely that Hendrick Motorsports will pursue an appeal, given how much is at stake for Bowman and his playoff hopes. For Bowman and his fans, the disqualification feels like a cruel twist of fate. After enduring a difficult 2022 season marred by injury and missing several races in 2023 due to his back injury, Bowman's return to form was a heartwarming story. His perseverance and determination had earned him the admiration of fans and fellow drivers alike. His disqualification at Charlotte, however, erases much of the goodwill he had built throughout the season. What makes it even harder to accept is the fact that Bowman was not disqualified for anything related to his driving ability or performance on the track. Instead, it was a technical violation that had nothing to do with his skill as a driver. While Bowman and his supporters deal with the disappointment, Joey Logano finds himself in an unexpected position. Logano's season has been inconsistent at best, with several ups and downs along the way. He had not performed as well as he had in previous years, particularly on intermediate tracks, which have been his Achilles heel this season. However, Logano is a fierce competitor, and his playoff experience cannot be underestimated. With Bowman out of the picture, Logano now has a clear path to the round of 8 and potentially the championship 4. Logano's advancement into the playoffs adds a new layer of intrigue to the remaining races. While he may not have been one of the favorites to advance earlier in the season, Logano's ability to perform under pressure makes him a dangerous contender. With upcoming races at Las Vegas and Homestead, Logano will have to bring his best if he hopes to make a deep run in the playoffs. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell while you're down there. Until then, keep exploring.